When the galaxy's mightiest empires laughed at Earth's tiny army of 50 million soldiers, they had no idea they were about to witness the difference between a mob and a machine of war. Ambassador Zethkri of the hegemony leaned back in his crystalline chair, mandibles clicking in what passed for laughter among his species. The holographic display showed Earth's military statistics, and to every alien mind present, the numbers seemed almost quaint. Let me understand this correctly. Zethkri's translator rendered his chittering into smooth galactic standard. The humans claim their entire military force consists of fewer than 50 million active personnel across all branches. High Counselor Varathul, whose aquatic homeworld had produced warriors for 3 millennia, rippled her gill slits in amusement. Our smallest colonial defense force numbers 300 million. The humans cannot be serious about joining our defensive pact with such limited resources. The human ambassador, General Sarah Chen, sat quietly at the far end of the semicircular chamber. Her dress uniform bore no flashy decorations, no intimidating spikes or ceremonial weapons like the other species favored. Just a simple arrangement of ribbons and insignia that meant nothing to alien eyes. Perhaps, suggested the insectoid representative from Clax Prime, his compound eyes glittering. The humans misunderstand the scale of warfare in our galaxy. Their little planet has never faced the void swarm or the machine consciousness. 50 million troops? His antennae twitched dismissively. We lose more than that in a standard border skirmish. General Chen finally spoke, her voice calm and measured. Honored delegates, I believe there may be some fundamental misunderstandings about how human military forces operate. Our numbers reflect active, professional soldiers. Each one represents years of intensive training, advanced equipment, and specialized roles. The chamber erupted in what could charitably be called polite skepticism. The hegemony had conquered 47 star systems with conscript armies billions strong. The Aquatic Federation maintained standing forces that could strip mine moons for resources. What could possibly be special about a few million humans in matching uniforms? General Chen, Varathul's voice carried the patient tone one might use with a child. We appreciate your species' enthusiasm, but quality cannot overcome quantity on the scale of galactic warfare. Perhaps Earth would be better served in a support role. Supply lines, medical assistance, communication relays. The human general smiled then, a small expression that somehow made several delegates shift uncomfortably in their seats. I understand your concerns. Perhaps a demonstration would be more illuminating than statistics. 3 days later, the Galactic Council convened on the neutral world of Nexus Station to observe humanity's demonstration. The betting pools among various species heavily favored, the humans lasting approximately 4 hours against a standard hegemony expeditionary force. The test was straightforward. 1,000 human soldiers would defend a fortified position against 10,000 hegemony shock troops, supported by armor and aerial units. Standard galactic war games protocol. The aliens expected a valiant but brief display before the humans were overrun by superior numbers. General Chen stood in the command bunker, watching her soldiers take their positions. To alien eyes, the scene was underwhelming. The humans didn't swarm like insects or move in the massive formations that dominated galactic battlefields. Instead, they moved with a precision that seemed almost mechanical, each soldier knowing exactly where to be and when. Your troops seem orderly, observed Zethkri, who had volunteered to oversee the exercise. But order alone will not save them from the storm that comes. The human general nodded toward her communications officer. Major Harrison, open channel to all units. This is actual command to all stations. Exercise Phoenix is now live. Rules of engagement are standard war games protocol. Remember your training. Remember why we're here. Show them what a human professional army looks like. The response came back across dozens of frequencies, but the message was the same. Hua, command. Ready to send. Across the battlefield, the hegemony force began its advance. 10,000 warriors moving in traditional wave formations, their exoskeletons gleaming in the twin suns of Nexus. It was an impressive sight, the kind of mass assault that had conquered worlds. Then the humans opened fire. The first thing that surprised the observing aliens was the sound, or rather the lack of it. Human weapons didn't roar or shriek like the energy cannons and plasma mortars common to galactic armies. Instead, there was a sharp, controlled rhythm of kinetic weapons firing in disciplined volleys. The second surprise was the effect. Hegemony shock troops that had weathered plasma storms and ion bombardments began falling in perfectly organized patterns, not the random casualties of typical warfare, but methodical surgical elimination of key targets. Impossible, Zethkri chittered, watching his species warriors struggle to maintain formation. Those are solid projectile weapons, primitive chemical propulsion. They should barely scratch our combat armor. General Chen glanced at the readings on her tactical display. Ambassador, those primitive rounds are depleted uranium cores traveling at 3,000 meters per second. Our soldiers don't just point and shoot. They're trained to hit specific targets at specific ranges with specific ammunition for specific effects. On the battlefield, the human demonstration was becoming a masterclass in military science. While hegemony forces advanced in predictable patterns, human soldiers moved in small, coordinated teams. They appeared, struck with lethal precision, and vanished before return fire could be coordinated. Watch Sector 7, General Chen indicated on the holographic display. Squad designation Delta 4 is about to demonstrate combined arms coordination. 8 human soldiers had allowed themselves to be cornered by nearly 200 hegemony warriors. To alien eyes, it looked like impending massacre. Then the trap sprung. Mortar fire, pre-ranged and calculated, began falling in a perfect box around the alien force. Not random bombardment, but precise strikes that channeled the enemy into a killing field. Simultaneously, hidden machine gun positions opened up with interlocking fields of fire, while designated marksmen eliminated officers and heavy weapons operators with single shots. In less than 3 minutes, 200 seasoned warriors had been reduced to a scattered, leaderless mob. Your soldiers, Varathul observed, her aquatic features betraying confusion. They fight like they can see the future. How do they know where to aim before the enemy moves there? Training, General Chen replied simply. Every human soldier spends months learning to read battlefield patterns, predict enemy movements, and coordinate with their unit. They don't just react to what they see, they anticipate what will happen next. By hour 6, the exercise had ceased to be a test of human capability and had become a lesson in applied military science. The hegemony force, despite overwhelming numerical advantage, was being systematically dismantled. What disturbed the alien observers most was the methodical nature of the destruction. There was no glory-seeking, no individual heroics, no emotional responses to casualties. When human soldiers fell, their teammates adapted instantly, maintaining unit cohesion and continuing their mission objectives. This is not how warfare works. The Klaxian representative buzzed anxiously. Where is the chaos? The confusion? The breakdown of command structure under pressure? General Chen pulled up a communication intercept for translation. Listen to this radio traffic from one of our forward units. The alien translation systems rendered the calm, professional voices. Tango 6, this is Bravo 2. We have eyes on approximately 40 hostiles moving through Grid Square 77. Request fire mission coordinates follow. Bravo 2, Tango 6 confirms target acquisition. Fire mission approved. Danger close protocols in effect. Rounds complete in 30 seconds. Roger, Tango 6. All friendly units, incoming Ordnance Grid 77, take cover, take cover, take cover. The precision was terrifying. No wasted words, no confusion, no debate. Just professional soldiers executing their craft with mechanical efficiency. The hegemony commander, General Krexthan, finally called a halt to his assault. His forces had been reduced by 70%, while inflicting less than 5% casualties on the human defenders. It wasn't just a defeat, it was a demonstration of warfare at a level the galaxy had never seen. How? Zethkri demanded, his usual composure cracking. How do so few accomplish what should require so many? General Chen stood before the assembled alien delegates, no longer the polite diplomat, but clearly a professional warrior. Because every human soldier represents an investment of 3 years minimum training, advanced education, specialized technical skills, and integration into a larger system. We don't mass-produce warriors, we craft them. Your hegemony shock troops are individually formidable, she continued, but they fight as individuals within a mass. Our soldiers fight as components of a single, thinking organism. Every private knows not just their job, but how their job connects to every other job in the unit. The final phase of the demonstration removed any remaining doubts about human military capabilities. General Chen had authorized the use of enhanced coordination protocols, what humans simply called combined operations. Suddenly, the humans weren't just fighting as infantry squads. Artillery began falling with impossible precision, guided not by forward observers but by every soldier's integrated targeting system. Close air support arrived exactly when needed, striking targets that had been marked by ground forces seconds before. Most disturbing to the alien observers was the seamless transition between offense and defense. Human forces would hold a position until the last possible moment, then withdraw in perfect order to new positions that had been prepared hours in advance. It was like watching a single mind control 1,000 bodies. "This cannot be natural," Varathul whispered, her aquatic features pale with shock. "No species achieves this level of coordination without genetic engineering or cybernetic implants. You must tell us your secret." General Chen smiled grimly. "The secret is something you might find disturbing. Every human soldier volunteers for service. They choose to be there. They choose to train together, fight together, and if necessary, die together. That bond, that mutual commitment, creates something greater than the sum of its parts." The revelation hit the galactic delegates like a physical blow. Their armies were based on conscription, genetic programming, or simple survival instinct. The idea that beings would voluntarily submit to such rigorous training and discipline was alien to their understanding. But why? The Klaxian representative buzzed in confusion. Why would individuals sacrifice personal autonomy for collective military efficiency? "Because," General Chen replied, "we understand that professional warriors must be more than just fighters. They must be protectors, engineers, diplomats, and leaders. A human soldier isn't just trained to kill. They're educated to prevent conflicts, rebuild after disasters, and represent their species with honor." On the battlefield, the demonstration had evolved into something approaching art. Human forces were conducting a fighting withdrawal that looked more like a complex dance. Each movement flowed into the next, each unit supporting others in patterns that seemed to anticipate events minutes before they occurred. The exercise officially ended after 12 hours, but its lessons would resonate throughout the galaxy for decades to come. The human force of 1,000 had not only held their positions but had systematically destroyed an enemy force 10 times their size while suffering minimal casualties. But the real shock came during the debrief, when General Chen revealed the full scope of human military planning. "What you observed today was a standard infantry demonstration using basic equipment and tactics. Our soldiers were operating under strict rules of engagement, with no access to our advanced weapon systems, electronic warfare capabilities, or strategic weapons." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. This devastating display had been humanity holding back. "Furthermore," the general continued, "this represents approximately 0.002% of our total military capability. We have similar forces trained for space combat, underwater operations, Arctic warfare, urban combat, special operations, and conditions that don't exist on most worlds." Zethakri's mandibles clicked nervously. "How many soldiers could you deploy if truly threatened?" General Chen consulted her datapad. "Our current active forces could be tripled within 6 months through reserve activation. If Earth itself were threatened," she paused, considering, "we have detailed plans for training and equipping approximately 800 million soldiers within 2 years. Every human adult receives basic military training in school." The number hit the alien delegates like a meteor strike. 800 million soldiers trained to the standard they had just witnessed would represent a military force capable of conquering half the galaxy. "But you said you preferred peaceful solutions," Varathul protested weakly. "We do," General Chen confirmed. "That's exactly why we maintain such capabilities. Peace through strength isn't just a motto for humans. It's a survival strategy learned through millennia of warfare on our own world." She gestured to the tactical display, still showing the aftermath of the exercise. "Every human soldier understands that their ultimate mission is to make themselves unnecessary. We train for war so that we don't have to fight it." The Galactic Council reconvened 3 days later, but the dynamic had fundamentally changed. Where once human representatives had been politely tolerated, they were now consulted on matters of strategic importance. The proposal for humanity's inclusion in the Defensive Pact passed unanimously, but with an unexpected addition. Earth would not be providing support troops or logistics personnel. Instead, humanity would serve as the rapid response force for galactic crises. "One human division," Zethkri announced, his tone respectful now. will be considered equivalent to 10 standard galactic army groups for planning purposes. This adjustment reflects the demonstrated force multiplication effect of professional military training and equipment. General Chen accepted the proposal with characteristic understatement. "We're honored to serve alongside our galactic allies. Our forces will be ready for deployment within 48 hours of any crisis." But privately, she smiled at the irony. The galaxy had spent millennia building massive armies to fight massive wars. Humans had instead focused on building smaller, smarter, more capable forces that could win battles before they became wars. The real test, she knew, would come when they faced a genuine threat. The Void Swarm was still out there, consuming star systems at the galaxy's edge. The machine consciousness continued its inexorable advance through the outer rim. When those threats reached inhabited space, the galaxy would discover what a human professional army could really accomplish. Over the following months, human military advisors were quietly requested by nearly every member species, not to provide troops but to share training methods, organizational structures, and tactical doctrines. The galaxy was learning that warfare was not just about having the most soldiers, it was about having the best soldiers. The humans, for their part, adapted quickly to their new role. They established training academies on multiple worlds, teaching alien forces the fundamentals of professional military service, discipline, coordination, tactical thinking, and most importantly, the understanding that the best warriors were those who thought before they fought. 6 months after the demonstration at Nexus Station, the first real test came. A Void Swarm scout fleet had penetrated deep into Council space, threatening the agricultural world of New Harvest. Traditional galactic military doctrine would have required mobilizing millions of troops and accepting massive casualties to stop the incursion. Instead, the Council called for humanity's rapid response. General Chen personally led the deployment, 15,000 human soldiers, supported by their integrated air and space assets. To most galactic observers, it looked like sending a scalpel to stop an avalanche. The battle lasted 8 hours. When it ended, the Void Swarm scout fleet had been completely eliminated without landing a single organism on New Harvest's surface. Human forces had identified the swarm's coordination nodes, disrupted their collective intelligence, and systematically eliminated threat groups in order of tactical priority. The most disturbing aspect, from the aliens' perspective, was how routine it appeared to the humans. They executed the mission with the same professional efficiency they brought to training exercises, treating the annihilation of a Void Swarm fleet as simply another day's work. Word of the victory spread throughout the galaxy at faster-than-light speeds. Humanity's reputation evolved from surprisingly competent to terrifyingly effective virtually overnight. The species that had once been dismissed as primitive barbarians were now recognized as the galaxy's premier military force. But perhaps the most significant change was philosophical. The galaxy began to understand that warfare could be more than organized chaos, that military service could be more than conscripted survival, and that victory could come through precision rather than mass. The human approach, small, professional, devastatingly effective forces, began influencing military thought across hundreds of worlds. The age of massive conscript armies was ending, replaced by an era of elite professional military units trained in the human style. General Chen, now promoted to Supreme Allied Commander, stood before the Galactic Council 1 year after that first demonstration. The chamber was filled with delegates who no longer saw humans as junior partners, but as the architects of galactic defense. The lesson, she told the assembled representatives, is not that humans are superior warriors. The lesson is that warfare is a science, not an art. It requires study, preparation, training, and above all, the understanding that the goal is not to fight, but to win quickly and decisively so that fighting can end. Every human soldier understands that they represent not just their unit, not just their planet, but the hope that intelligent beings can resolve conflicts through strength applied with precision, rather than strength applied with abandon. As she spoke, reports were arriving of the Void Swarm's main fleet retreating from galactic space, apparently unwilling to face an enemy that could destroy their scouts so completely. The machine consciousness had similarly halted its advance, analyzing new tactical data that suggested traditional mass assault strategies were obsolete. The galaxy was learning what Earth had known for centuries: that the most effective military force was not the largest, but the most professional, the most trained, and the most committed to victory through superior preparation rather than superior numbers. And so began humanity's reputation as the galaxy's guardians, not through conquest or intimidation, but through the simple demonstration that warfare, like any other science, rewarded those who studied it most carefully and applied it most precisely. The day the galaxy realized what a human professional army really was had become the day everything changed. Years later, military historians would mark the Nexus Station demonstration as the beginning of the professional military era. The old ways of warfare, massive conscript armies clashing in brutal attritional campaigns, became relics of a less enlightened time. Across the galaxy, species began reforming their military structures along human lines. Quality replaced quantity as the measure of military strength. Training centers replaced conscription offices. Professional soldiers replaced pressed civilians. But humanity's greatest contribution was not tactical or technological, it was philosophical. They had shown the galaxy that military service could be honorable, that soldiers could be scholars, and that the ultimate goal of any military force was to make itself unnecessary through the deterrent effect of demonstrated competence. The human motto, inscribed now in dozens of languages on military academies throughout known space, captured this evolution perfectly. Si vis pacem, para bellum, if you want peace. Prepare for war. But beneath it, in smaller text, was the uniquely human addition that had changed everything, and know exactly how to use what you've prepared. The galaxy had learned that lesson well, and in learning it, had taken the first step toward a more peaceful future built on the foundation of professional military excellence. The day they realized what a human professional army really was had become the day the galaxy grew up.